morning, Vande Matram. Welcome all of you. Topic to be discussed right now is on fasting is not permissible in the ashram. No fasting, please. Most of the time, almost everybody they prefer fasting, but in one occasion or another. Maybe they are celebrating this was an occasion. Most of the time, everywhere in this religious celebrations, you can find many days throughout the life when some special occasions on in the name of some different gods, different deities. Here people celebrate with fasting, but they don't know it hurts bitterly than helps. It has got its bane than proper boon. That is what they have forgotten. Sri Aurobindo quotes, no yoga can be done without sufficient food and sleep. It is required. Food and sleep are required. No yoga can be done without sufficient food or sleep. Food and sleep. Fasting or sleeplessness makes the nerves morbid and excited. If once or twice out of compulsion something is there, suppose you are going but you don't have any option there. Somewhere every day you are moving through the jungle, or somewhere that is a strike, or you are standing somewhere you don't have the option of taking food, you don't get. So that is a different case. You are not in, you are helpless to help you. But deliberately fasting and sleeplessness, not sleeping, make nerves morbid and excited and weaken the brain and lead to delusion and fantasies. Delusion and fantasies, that is what you can expect. So don't run after this fasting, upavas. Fasting is not permissible in the ashram. Initially, Sri Aurobindo quoted no yoga. No yoga, it does not mean that we are speaking only of the exclusively of the integral yoga. No yoga can be possible. Here, about the second phase, Sri Aurobindo comes to the ashram Pondicherry. Fasting is not permissible in the ashram, as its practice is more often harmful than helpful. Just now I quoted. More often harmful than helpful to the spiritual endeavor. If you are in this track, treading this path, be cautious. Not possible, because this practice, if you are addicted or somehow managing or maintaining or you are pursuing, this is more often harmful than helpful to the spiritual endeavor. And again, Sri Aurobindo quotes, prolonged fasting. If somebody is doing out of compulsion, if you are not staying there alone, not able to find something, nobody is there to help you, hotels are closed, or for one reason or another, forget about it. But that is you are managing, there is no other go. But prolonged fasting may lead to an excitation of the nervous being. It must be taken care. Prolonged fasting lead to an excitation of your nervous being, which often brings vivid imaginations and hallucinations. You don't know the aftermath. Vivid imaginations and hallucinations that are taken for true experience. You are here for experience. Soul is here for a gathering experience. But prolonged fasting, it creates a hallucination and imaginations, and these hallucinations and imaginations are taken by you as true experiences. Such fasting is frequently suggested by the vital entities, not the spiritual entities. So many vital entities are there around you, they are actually encouraging you for the fasting, and otherwise they are actually troubling your mind, they are pulling you down. You are again and again you are going through the vivid imaginations and hallucinations that are taken it for granted that these are spiritual experiences, true experiences. Definitely you are in the wrong side, losing the game. Such fasting is frequently suggested by the vital entities because it puts the consciousness into unbalanced state. Put the consciousness into the unbalanced state. So before fasting, you think many times. Hallucination, imaginations, vivid imaginations. They are actually derailing you, bringing unbalanced state in you, which favors their designs. Their designs means vital forces designs, as they have designed. Where there is divinity, there is stupidity. If you are sleeping, then no problem for them. Why they will come and waste their energy? If you are rising up, moving upward in the spiritual path, then naturally they will try to come and disturb you. As long as you are, it depends proportionately. In proportion you are moving in this sadhana, in this spiritual track, these stupidities will also be following in them proportion. It is they are having their designs and they want to put you in their traps. It is therefore discouraged here. So categorically sure in the course it is this fasting is discouraged in the ashram. Then it is not necessary to have the desire or greed for food. Not necessary. Not helpful also. It is not necessary to have desire or greed for food in order to eat. Because we need sufficient food, sufficient rest, sufficient sleep for progress in the process of sadhana. It is good. But not necessary to have desire or greed for food in order to eat. The yogi eats not out of desire. Suppose you are a yogi, you are pursuing this yogic path. You are not here out of desire. You don't eat anything out of desire, but to maintain the body. Maintain the body. Body is required. Body to be maintained. For that actually you are taking some food for the maintenance, proper maintenance of the body, not to satisfy your desire, greed. It is a mistake to neglect the body. Mistake to neglect the body. If body is the base, body is the chrysalis of the soul. If you are neglecting, there is no base. How shall you stand there without base index? How the existence of the index is not at all possible. No x-axis. Then how can we expect that y-axis will stand? Where it will stand? It has no place for it. Without base, you can't have the index. If there is no foundation, how can you erect the structure of 5-storied building? Is it possible at all? It is a mistake to neglect the body and let it waste away. Initially, people have the old faculties of yogis, they had the same idea. Karyam basadayat sariram bapatayat. Let this body get destroyed, nothing happens. But I must do the sadhana and I will fulfill my sadhana. Karyam, I must accomplish my work. For that, let this body get destroyed. But it is not here. Naturally body will go because you are not taking care, neglecting. It will go, but you don't know whether this karya sadhan, if you are doing or not. So it is a mistake to neglect the body and let it waste away. The body is the means for the sadhana. Without body, how can you make the sadhana? And should be maintained in a good order. Should be maintained in a good order. It is what the requirement. Without proper body, proper base, how can you be able to erect the structure? There should be no attachment to it, no contempt or neglect either the material part of our nature, not advisable. No attachment to it, but no contempt or neglect either of the material part of our nature. You don't have the right to do so. That is what to be taken care of. That is a must. Because we don't know how really we get hampered in our dealings with our works. Then Sri Aurobindo quotes, spiritually I should say that the effect of food depends more on the occult atmosphere and influences. How it actually works, how it actually affects, how it affects also. Everything depends upon the occult atmosphere and influences that come with it than on anything in the food itself. Everything comes from the occult atmosphere. Vegetarian is another question altogether. vegetarianism, we are taking veg, non-veg. That is the question of discussion. Many times, many ways. In many places, the same question has been put again and again. What about the veg and the non-veg? Same thing is being questioned. Vegetarian is another question altogether. It stands on a will not to do harm to the more conscious forms of life for the satisfaction of the belly. That is another question. Veg, non-veg. That's what. Vegetarian is another question altogether. It stands on a will not to do harm to the more conscious forms of life for the satisfaction of the belly. For the satisfaction of the belly, we are doing taking third also that the taste and simultaneously it is matters. The taste is there, that is also rasa. But thing is that you must be but there must not be any vital desire or attachment, greed for food. Being overjoyed when you find the food you like, and sorry and discontented when you don't have it. Getting undue importance to it. So here we are maintaining the equality. Here we will go for another message from the mother, that is a good one. We'll try to quote it here. It will be noteworthy. It is an inner attitude of freedom from attachment. Freedom from attachment, but actually inner attitude of freedom from attachment and from the greed of food. Inner attitude of freedom from attachment and greed for food and the desire of the palate that is needed. So for that, actually, this is the inner attitude, mother course. One message I want to quote from Sri Aurobindo, I remember right now. Beautiful message is there. That desire must perish, desire must go. How? What is the process? Method. What are the methods? Two methods are there here in the course. In two ways you can get rid of the force of this desire. One, satisfy it. Very good example, very good method. You can satisfy, and we keep satisfying that, and the life is over. Because that is easy. Whatever desire is there, we want to satisfy it, and after that only we keep running throughout the ages, throughout the entire life. And the second one is by shunning the desire. It is difficult, but it is the better method. Anyway, here in the course, desire must perish. If it is satisfied after some time, it will never come, because you have satisfied entirely, wholeheartedly. Even if it is coming, it won't affect you. And second method, you have already shunned the desire. Both the way, desire must perish. That is what the requirement. Here also, Sri Aurobindo mother quotes. It is the inner attitude of freedom from attachment and from the greed of food and the desire, of the palate that is needed. Inner attitude, how it works. Inner attitude of freedom from attachment, from greed of fruit and the desire of the palate that is needed. Not undue diminution of the quantity taken and the self-starvation. That is not an inner attitude. Eat enough food but not too much. Not too much or not too little. One must take sufficient food for the maintenance of the body. Sufficient food. Again, after Sri Aurobindo mother also quotes, sufficient food. Example I will give. You are moving something around 100 kilometers with a bike. And it is a path where very difficult to get any petrol bunk inside. So you have to be prepared. Suppose 100 kilometers up, 100 kilometers down, 200 kilometers. You have put sufficient petrol in your vehicle. No problem, you can go and come back. Suppose you have a guest. After 50 kilometers, there is a possibility of getting a petrol bunk, but it is not available. Even no private stalls are selling petrols. Then what you are going to do? You are stopped, held up there. So one must take sufficient food for the maintenance of the body and its strength, maintenance of the body, its strength and health, but without attachment or desire. You must take the sufficient food for strength, health, proper health and maintenance of the body, but there must not be any attachment or desire. That is what the requirement. Dhanyavad. Thank you.